Okay, so for number 1, it says rewrite each polynomial in standard form, and that's kind of just to help you out. Okay, so if we write this in standard form, you start off with the biggest exponent, so I'll write this term first, and then the next biggest exponent, just kind of go down from there. Okay, and then the directions say identify the leading coefficient. So leading coefficient is just, when you put it in standard form, it's just the first number you see. Okay, so the degree, biggest exponent, that's 3. The number of terms, just count them, 1, 2, 3, 4. And then the name of it, according to degree and number of terms. So the degree is 3, so it's a cubic. And the number of terms is 4, so it's a polynomial. So cubic polynomial. Okay, this one, so put it in standard form. Okay, so leading coefficient, first number you see when you put it in standard form, just -5. Okay, and then degree, the biggest exponent is 3. Number of terms, 1, 2, 3. Okay, since the degree is 3, wait, is the last degree 3? Yeah, okay. Since the degree is 3, this is another cubic. And since there's 3 terms, it's a trinomial. Oops. Okay. Okay, let me use this new microphone. This might be better. Okay, so 3 and 4, you're going to add or subtract. Okay, so the first one, so like try to pay attention to all these little details. All these little details are important. They all have meaning. So if you have a plus or minus sign in between the 2 parentheses, then this is addition. This is adding. So again, you just got to be careful not to FOIL for these types. Okay, and so with these, if it's addition, all you do is combine like terms. So that's kind of nice. Okay, so this 3x cubed and 7x cubed are like terms. That's 10x cubed. I'm going to kind of cross them out as we go. Okay, next one, x squared. There's only one x squared, and that's a negative x squared, so we'll just rewrite that. Okay, these 2 terms with x, 2x and minus 4x. Those combine to be minus 2x, and then those 2 numbers just combine to be 13. Okay, this one I say, first off, this is subtraction. Okay, and then I say maybe do it in 2 steps. It's up to you, but I say the first step, just rewrite this first thing without parentheses. And then this subtraction is kind of like a negative that'll distribute to all these, and all it does is change the sign of all these. So this negative, when here you have like negative, negative, so that'll become positive, So this will be a plus 8x squared. And the next one, this is a minus 4x, so that's be negative 4x or minus 4x. Okay, and then this positive 5 changes sign to be a negative 5. Okay, and then now it kind of becomes the same problem as the last one. And so you can just combine like terms. So you have a cubic, and you just have one of those. Whoops. Okay, you have these 2 squared terms, minus 5x squared and plus 8x squared. Those become 3x squared. Okay, you only have one term with x, so we'll just rewrite it. And then these two terms, 7 minus 5 is 2. Okay, so for 5 and 6, we'll multiply, right, since it says so it's product. Okay, for the first one, if it's a monomial times a polynomial, that's distributing. If it's a, binomial or bigger, times each other, this is a binomial and trinomial. This you FOIL and then combine like terms. Okay, so this first one though, all we're doing is distributing because there's a monomial out front. So just kind of distribute this to each one. Okay, and then when you distribute, you never have to combine like terms. Okay, this one will probably have to combine like terms. Okay, so this is foiling. Okay, just kind of plug along. So for this times this. Oh, keep in mind too, when you do x, so you do 4 times 2 is 8. X squared times x cubed. When you multiply 2 powers of x, you add the exponents. So that's how we got a 5. Okay, keep going. So 4 times negative 3 is negative 12. And then add the exponents. Okay, 4 times negative 6 is that. And then this is like a x to the 1 here. So x squared times x to the 1. Add the exponents, you get that. Okay, so now we'll do the 3. Okay, 3 times 2x squared. Or cubed, I mean. 6x cubed. 3 times negative 3x squared, negative 9x squared. And then 3 times minus 6x is minus 18x. Okay, like terms, there's only one x to the 5th. So we'll just rewrite that. Only 1x to the 4th. Just rewrite that. We get 2x cubes. So negative 24 plus 6 is negative 18. And that's x cubed. There's only one x squared term and only one x term, so we just rewrite those. Okay, so we added and subtracted, we multiplied, and now we divide. Okay, so dividing is two possibilities. It could be synthetic division or it could be long division. Okay, this one's going to be synthetic division because there's just an x there. Okay, once we know it's going to be synthetic division, now we set it up this way. Okay, remember, put the opposite of this number out front. So since that's a plus 3, we'll put a minus 3 out front. And then all these numbers that you see here, those are the ones that go here. Okay, for this one, keep in mind there's no x term, so it's like there's like a 0x there. Okay, so when you're putting the numbers, you'll do the 2, the 6, and then you'll put the 0 for the x, and then minus 5. Okay, with these, you always bring down the first, and then you multiply. So you always do, you're always, anytime you multiply, you're going to multiply by this number out front, and you're always going to multiply this number out front by the new number that comes down here. So this 2 just came down here, so we'll multiply it by negative 3, and we'll get negative 6. And then once you get a number in this middle row, you always add these two, and that goes here. 0. Okay, that 0 multiplied by negative 3, you get 0. And these two zeros you add. Same 0 multiplied by negative 3, you get a 0 again. and then you add these. Okay, and then you've got the answer here. You just have to know how to write it. So these three numbers you turn into x's. Okay, and then so this is the remainder. This is just what it is, just the number. This is with x, and this is with x squared. So this will be a 2x squared. And then since these are zeros, you don't have to write anything. You don't do 0 plus 0x plus 0. You don't do that. Okay, and then just remember this remainder. Since that's a -5, you'll do minus. And then you'll do 5 all over x plus 3. You do x plus 3 because that was the original divisor. That always goes to on the bottom of the remainder. Okay, and then this one, since it has a number in front of the x, then you have to do long division. Okay, so we'll set that up. We'll put the divisor out front. Do the little long division thingy. Okay, and then we're going to do the same 4 steps over and over again. We'll do divide, multiply, subtract, bring down. Okay, so first step, I'll kind of put it over to the side here. First step, divide. Okay, but what do you divide? So you always divide. Every single time for this problem, we're going to be dividing by 4x. Every time. And you always do just the first thing here divided by 4x. So the first thing is that 12x cubed. Divide that by 4x. Becomes 3x squared. Right, the 12 and 4 simplify to be 3. And then x cubed divided by x, that's x squared. Okay, the thing that you get from the division, that 3x squared, you put it in the x squared column. And then you multiply. So the next step is multiply. And you multiply by the divisor, 4x plus 3 in this case. And then you distribute. And then you line that up underneath here, 12x cubed plus 9x squared. Okay, so the next step is always subtracting. Okay, so 12x cubed minus 12x cubed, those cancel. And then here you got to be careful. Whoops. You got to be careful. When you do negative 11x squared minus 9x squared, that's negative 20x squared. Okay, then after you do the subtraction, the last step is bring down. And that's what we'll do with this 9x. Bring that down. And then start the whole thing over again. Okay, so next thing you'll do is divide. And you always do the first thing down here divided by 4x. So negative 20x squared divided by 4x. That's negative 5x. You'll put it up top here. Okay, then you'll multiply this by the divisor. Same thing as last time. Distribute. Okay, then we'll line that up. we'll subtract. Okay, these cancel. And then we've got to be careful again. So 9 minus a negative 15. So minus a negative is plus. So 9 plus 15 is 24. This is 24x. Okay, so we just subtracted, so next step is bring down. And we'll start all over again. Okay, so we'll do the first thing that we see at the bottom is 24x. Divide that by 4x. The x's cancel, and then 24 divided by 4 is 6. Get a 6 up there. Multiply by the divisor. Distribute. And then we'll put down here, line it up. Okay, and then everything cancels. Those cancel and those cancel. When you subtract, you get 0 as a remainder. So if you get 0 as a remainder, then whatever's up here is just the answer. That's it for this one. Okay, so that's everything on the first page. Line this up. Okay. Okay, this next is all the factoring stuff, and then yeah, a lot of factoring stuff here. All right, first thing, you just got to recognize what type it is. That's one of the biggest parts. And the reason why you have to know what type is because different types you solve differently. Okay, so this one is normal. Because there's no number in front of the x squared. Okay, for normal method, you think about two numbers that multiply to be the last number and add up to be the middle number. So two numbers that multiply to be negative 14 and add up to be negative 5. So that's negative 7 and 2. So those multiply to be negative 14 and they add up to be negative 5. Okay, so those two numbers we'll put in parentheses, and that's it. Whoops. Okay, and that's factored. Okay, next one. This is difference of squares. Okay, reason is difference. That means subtraction. And then everything is something squared. Like 4 is 2 squared. X squared is x squared. And 25 is 5 squared. Right, so everything that you see is something squared. That's difference. So difference of two squares. Okay, these, you're going to put the same thing in both parentheses, but one's going to be plus and the other is going to have a minus. But besides that, they're going to be the exact same things. And the only thing the thing that you put in here is like the stuff that's being squared. Like the 2 and the x are being squared. So it's 2x. And then here the 5 is being squared. So you'll put a 5 here. And since the first one had a 2x and a 5, then the second one's going to be the same. And that's it. Okay, next one is divide and slide. Because there's a number in front of the x squared, that's not the GCF. So number, not GCF. That's divide and slide. Okay, first thing you do is get rid of this number and multiply it by the last. And then you start solving it like a normal method. What two numbers multiply to be negative 4 and add up to be 3? That's 4 and negative 1. Okay, and then whatever number you kind of got rid of that was multiplied by the squared, you kind of bring that back and divide these by that number. Okay, then simplify as much as you can. So 4 divided by 2 is 2. And then the x minus a half, you can't simplify that half. All right, and then last thing, if whatever denominators, if you have a denominator, that number in the denominator just goes out front and multiplies by the x. That's it. Oops. Okay, 12. Okay, definitely grouping. Whoops. Because there's 4 terms. Okay, and the way to do grouping, just focus on the first 2 terms, pull out the GCF. So GCF between x cubed and x squared is x squared. If you pull it out, you're left with x minus 1. Okay, and then you focus on the next 2, these 2. Okay, one thing, if the first number here is a negative, then this will be minus here. Whoops. Okay, and then besides that, the GCF is 9 between these 2 terms. So you really pull out a negative 9. Okay, then when you factor it out, you're left with x minus 1. Okay, and then we can see that these things happen to be the same, and that'll always happen with these types. If that doesn't happen, it means either I made a mistake or you can't do it this way. Okay, that x minus 1, that goes into 1 parentheses, and then the 2 GCFs, you just put those into another parentheses. Okay, you should look to also see if you can factor more. So you can see this x squared minus 9 is difference of 2 squares. So that x squared minus 9 is really x plus 3 and x minus 3. Okay, and that's fully factored. Okay, next one is difference of 2 cubes. So we'll use a formula for that. Okay, since this formula only uses a and b, this will be our answer when we plug in a and b, then we really have to look at this problem and figure out what a and b are. And that's what this left-hand side is. So you're kind of using this left-hand side here to kind of figure out what a and b are. Okay, so notice that the way this is written, it's something cubed minus something cubed. And we almost have that already. We have something minus something cubed. So this first thing, you think of, can you write this as something cubed? And then yeah, so 8 is 2 cubed minus x cubed. And then it's the things that are being cubed. So this 2, that's a, just the 2. And then just this x, that's b. Okay, and then now in this in the right hand side of this formula, you just plug in everywhere you see a you put a 2, everywhere you see a b, you put an x. So a is 2, 2 squared is 4. A is 2, b is x, b is x, that's x squared. Okay, and that's it. Okay, next one. We don't know the type yet for this one because we have to pull out the GCF first. And I kind of wasn't saying it, but the other ones I was kind of thinking about the first thing I thought was, is there GCF? And for the other ones, none of them had a GCF, so we didn't have to worry about it. But this one does. Okay, so before we figure out the type, we have to pull out the GCF. Okay, GCF in this case, they're both divisible by 4. And then this x squared, smallest exponent of the variable, that'll be part of the GCF. Okay, just factored out, and then we get that. All right, and then now we just look at, when we're trying to figure out how to factor, just look at this thing inside the parentheses, and we'll just kind of focus on that. Okay, similar to the last one, this is, now this is sum of 2 cubes. Okay, and then x cubed is just x cubed, and 27 is 3 cubed. Okay, so we're going to compare this. First we'll use the formula, the sum of 2 cubes equals okay, so now we can see that this x is A and the 3 is B. Okay, so on the right hand side, here, everywhere you see an A, you put an X. Everywhere you see a B, you put a 3. A, put an X. B, put a 3. A, put an X. And then A times B is really just 3 times X, so that's 3X. And then B squared, B is 3, so that's 9. Okay, next one. Okay, so the directions for this one just say list the possible rational zeros. Okay, so we don't have to do the whole problem, just listing possible rational zeros. All right, so this is one where you'll start off with P and Q. So for this one, P is the last number, Q is the first number, and then you list factors. Okay, and then now to get the possible rational roots. Okay, so you do kind of take just every combination of these numbers, each of these numbers, divide it by each of these numbers, and just kind of try to go in a systematic way so you don't skip over some or forget some. So you could kind of do it 2 ways. I'm going to do like 1 divided by 1, 2 divided by 1, 3 divided by 1, 4 divided by 1, so each one of these divided by 1, and then I'm going to do each one of these divided by 2, each one of these divided by 4. So, and I'm going to try not to duplicate them, but we'll see. Okay, so when you divide each of these by 1, you just end up with the same thing. So these we'll just rewrite. Okay, now we'll divide each by 2. So let's just start off 1 divided by 2. Okay, 2 divided by 2 is 1, so we've already got a 1 here. So we don't have to write it again. 3 divided by 2. 4 divided by 2 is 2, and we've already got a 2. 6 divided by 2 is 3, we've already got that. 8 divided by 2 is 4, we've already got that. Next one is 9 divided by 2. 12 divided by 2 is 6, we've already got a 6. 18 divided by 2 is 9. We've got that. Okay, we got the rest. Okay, now we'll divide each by 4. So 1 divided by 4. Okay, 2 divided by 4 is a half, and we've already got a half. 3 divided by 4. Okay, so 4 divided by 4 is 1, and we've already got a 1. 6 divided by 4 is 3 over 2. And we've already got a 3 over 2. 8 divided by 4 is 2. We've got that. 9 divided by 4. Don't think we have one of those. Okay, and then we have the rest. So you could do it, but just for the sake of saving time, I'll just let you know that we've got the rest. All the rest are duplicates. Okay, and then just don't forget whatever numbers you get, whatever positive numbers, just remember they could all be negative also. So just make each one of these negative. Okay. Okay, last one. So we'll start off the same as the last one. Factors. Okay, possible rational roots. 1 divided by 1, 3 divided by 1, 5 divided by 1, 15 divided by 1. Okay, and then each of these can be negative also. Okay, so those are our possible rational roots. And then now is the time, after you get the possible rational roots, now you test them with synthetic division. Okay, so first off, I'm going to kind of set up this thing here. Okay, and then just remember, put all the numbers in here. Okay, since it's x cubed, you'll just put a 1. All right, then we'll start testing numbers. Okay, so let's always try 1. That's like easiest and most common. Okay, synthetic division we've already done, so I'll just kind of do it. Okay, that was good. So getting a 0 is good. Okay, what that means is, means two things. So it means x equals 1 is one of our answers, because we're finding all the zeros, and all the zeros are like x equals a number. So x equals 1 is going to be one of our answers. And the other thing is, we'll take these, we look at these numbers down here, just like we did before. We'll turn these into x's. This would be x cubed, or x squared, sorry, minus 2x minus 15. And then you'll set this equal to 0. And then solve for x. So this is a normal method. So here you have to factor sometimes at the end. Okay, factors that way. And then you set each factor equal to 0. You get x equals 5. X equals negative 3. And then just don't forget, remember we had this, we had this x equals 1 as one of our answers. So just make sure you kind of add that to your answers. And so this one had three answers. So okay, that's it.